All right. So today is going to be a very non-serious episode. For the past few episodes, we've been talking about stuff that I feel like are core teachings, things that I think are really really powerful and just really essential to your spiritual practice. And today's episode is more. It's also powerful, but it's not. I would say as necessary for a lot of people right now. This is just, I think, for someone like me and Jasmine who have been doing really well with our vibration, with our spiritual practice. Um, this is something that we feel like may be the next step in our evolution, spiritual evolution, and our evolution as deliberate creators. So I think that this episode may plant a seed in some people, and this episode might for others who are ready for it, they might, you guys might join us in being even more deliberate in creating our realities. Because even though like I do a lot in my spiritual practice and it's very effective, I have found that it's getting easier and easier by the day. My spiritual practice to the outsider might sound like a lot, but to me, it's every day. It's very second nature. It's very easy and it's very fun. Even though seemingly on paper, I'm doing a lot of stuff every single day spiritually, spiritual practice wise. So it's like I'm always constantly looking to do more in a way, or to create my reality even more deliberately, because um, it's like it's really fun. My daily practice, everything that I do on a daily basis is so much fun. And I look so forward to it so much. And it's always like, I want to do more. I want to create my reality even more. Not in a way of like, I need to create more. I need to manifest more, but literally in a way of pure fun, as far as like we we naturally are who we are. We're consciousness, but we're creators. Like we came here as, everyone has something in common, which is we are all creators of our reality. That's deep down who we, all of us, are. We're wanting to create. Uh, we were wanting to create with our personal preferences. So basically, we're almost like all of us are artists. Almost like if you think of it like we're all like painters or something, and we're really really wanting to paint more and more. Like we're really wanting to get better at painting. We're really wanting to, everything that you manifest is like a painting. Like, but it could be the simple manifestations, like you manifest your favorite dinner, or it could be you manifesting a shirt that you want, or you manifesting a good career that you want. It's like this is really just all like an experience of, it's like a painting on a canvas. So that's how I see my life. That's how I see manifestations. I see myself recently almost as like a mad painter, like a mad scientist painter who is, obsessed with creating a reality. Because the process of creation is so enjoyable. Um, and it's what we really love. And the thing about creation is, every time we're manifesting something new, every time we're creating something new, it's not just about manifestation. It's about having a new experience. It's about elevation. Because as a painter, you're not going to paint at the same level with each painting. Almost every time you paint, you almost always level up. Like you're almost always attempting something that it's a little bit more difficult, or something that will grow you. Like I don't think many painters, like, as a chef, like when you cook and stuff, if you're passionate about it, you're not gonna be just cooking at the same level every day. Like you're going to expand, like a new sauce or a new technique. Like whatever you're passionate about, you're gonna keep expanding upon it. So um basically, once you start really clearing resistance and your life starts to get really good, and the problems in your life start going away, and you're abundant, you have all the stuff that you want, you reach this point where all there is to do is to have fun. And honestly, creating reality is just like a big part of that. It's just fucking fun. And you elevate your consciousness and vibration with it every single time. And you have these deep experiences with these vibrations every single time. And basically, like, this is why I'm sober now, because I've found a high that is way better than any substance that can give me. Like, this is truly so enjoyable and so fulfilling from a soul level on a day-to-day basis. So like just see every day as a blank slate. Like, every day is literally this blank slate where you get to fill in with your vibration. You get to fill in with your creation. So that's me every day. I wake up so excited to create my reality every day, and just to also experience my all the things that I rampage about, I script about, all the things that I tap into, fill into my day in a very fulfilling way.
I'm just thinking about now, and we'll talk about more about like the scripting process.
Yeah.
But I just realized like what a powerful tool it is. Like I'm just realizing now it's basically like segment intention on steroids plus
Yes.
imagination.
Right. Yeah, I wanted to say, like, everything you say always leads to something I like, reminds me to say, or something like, or inspire me to say. But like, um, and we're gonna talk about your like more imagination stuff, as well. But um, that's the thing, is everything's vibration, right? And our thoughts are a vibration. So it's all about calibration, and there's just so much power in that we don't realize. Like, so when we don't calibrate, when we don't kind of use our thoughts every day to choose what we want, it's like we're still gonna do great, but it's like much less focused. It's like our dial is not as dialed in on exactly what we want. So that's all scripting is. It's like you're turning your dial into what you want in every way. And there's just so much power in that focus, where you're just like clarifying the picture, you're clarifying that vibration, and you're choosing. And the thing about choosing is that, like, there's so much to choose. Like, there's basically when you don't script, or you don't segment intent and everything, you're still gonna have a great year. You're still gonna have a great time. But this is really just like, you're gonna have an even better time if you script. Like, it's just like you're really way more hands-on with your experience, and you're just choosing to really hone in on certain vibrations. So, for example, if you're cooking dinner tonight, assuming you're a decent chef, you're probably still gonna have a great dinner, maybe with your friends, spouse, whoever. You're still gonna have a great dinner, but when you just take 10 seconds out of your day to say, okay, the flavor of the steak is really like, this is the juiciest steak I've ever eaten, and like and I'm really in a zone. I'm cooking the steak today, and me and my spouse are having a really great conversation. Those things might have still happened, probably still happen, but now you're 100% tuned into it, right? Um, so there's just something, it's just simple, but there's something into just really tuning in. So like, when you hang out with your family, there's a good chance you'll have a good time. You're probably still gonna have a good time, but you're gonna have an even better time if you just took 10 seconds to think about, I am going to have a really happy moment with my family now, and just spend a few seconds. So, whatever you do, you go to your job, right? If you just spend a minute or 30 seconds to tune into how you want to feel, how you want this job today to go, it's just infinitely powerful, and you could choose it day after day. Like me and Jasmine, we set the same intentions before the podcast, like, most of the time, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Like, tuning in, even if it's repetitive, is always better than not tuning. Like, not in a way that it's necessary, but choosing your preferences and honing in on your preferences, segment to segment, week to week, month to month, year to year, you're just putting your dial onto it. And you have infinite slots to do that. Like, it's not like you can only set one intention. Like, you have infinite amount of spaces to script and set intentions, and just to and I'm just really excited about that this year, to just really, really just script, and just for fun. Like, not like, for me and Jasmine, I feel like I've like I feel like I've had so much success with so many like major topics in our life, like money, where at some point I stopped scripting because I didn't know what to script about. So now I'm scripting about the little things. I'm scripting about how I want my room to look like. I'm scripting about like the PC setup I want. I'm scripting about what type of food I want to cook this next month. So it sounds trivial, but you want to exercise your creative power. Like creativity, every creator loves creativity. So you want to exercise your creative power. And I think Jasmine's going to talk about a little bit about imagination later as well. So today's episode is really about exercising that creative muscle. And this is all extra and not necessary. But it's something that me and Jasmine are really looking forward to in the upcoming year. Like for me, I'm just really excited to build this muscle of getting more creative, like taking my imagination abilities, taking my scripting abilities to the next level.
Dude, I'm just like smiling so hard. Like, I want to script so bad right now.
Yeah, me too.
I'm seriously like looking through every single one of my scripting lists that I've done this year, bro. Everything has come true at some point.
Mhm.
And I love that with scripting. Like in the beginning, it definitely pushed my imagination, first of all, because like, for example, like when we were scripting about Turks and Caicos for that trip in July, I was like, I was just like, yo, like, why do I want just the bare minimum? Like beautiful beaches, amazing food, like such a great time. I was like, how can I expand? Like, what more do I actually want?
Mhm.
And I never really took the time to think about, it's like, yo, like how, like, what's the best possible outcome and experience that I can have, like
Mhm.
utilizing this moment.
Mhm.
Um, and so first of all, like it just pushed my imagination so heavy. And like, for example, like in Turks and Caicos, I was heavily thinking about yachts at that time and parties and being invited to parties. And all of I feel like because I scripted that early on, I carried that vibration with me. And then it actually ended up happening in Europe, like in the best possible way ever. So even if it like doesn't necessarily happen, most times, honestly though, like and I scripted that way too. Like if I was going like for Thanksgiving dinner and stuff like that, or if I know there's kind of an event or I'm about to go hang out with someone. When I in the beginning, when I first got into scripting, like I would script out every little detail, like transportation is going to be hella easy. We're going to have such a great time. It's going to be so wonderful to see each other. I'm going to get the best hug. Like all of those little details, like because I just took time to focus on it, like kind of like built up in my vortex. And then over time, like it kind of becomes natural. Like, of course, you're going to have a good time wherever you're going to go, So it's like, it's almost like one of those tools where it's like eventually, like you might not necessarily need it, but it's so freaking powerful and effective when you actually take the time to delve into it.
Yeah, and like um yeah, and it like just carries over into the future,
Yeah.
So yeah, like stuff that doesn't happen today can happen like next time, like next trip or whatever. Um yeah, and you're just really just building up just the experience, like, oh, you see, like, okay, my thoughts are really that powerful, and over time you'll get better and better at it. All right, so now do you want to share kind of more the imagination side of things?
Yeah. So with scripting, the way I kind of see it is like, all right, before a scene, like if your life is a movie, you're the director and you're the writer, and you're gonna be the producer once the action starts. But for me, scripting, it's like I'm the director and the writer at that time. So I
Mhm.
just close my eyes, and I think I'm definitely more of a visual person. Like if I have an imagination or a daydreaming session, like that shit feels so real, bro. Like I'll have like a smile on my face, like I feel the vibration of like the goodness that I'm imagining. And so that helps like my process, because I'm such a visual person, I can easily get into like the vibrational state of the feeling that I'm looking for. It helps me to first imagine the scene in my head, like refine all like little details and stuff, and like how I do, and I always focus on how I want to feel in that scene, and then I'll translate it into words. And that's also the other part. It's like for me, the whole point of scripting is to get into the feeling state. Like if I don't feel excited, like talking about like going to the beach or something like that, like I probably wouldn't even write it down. Like only the things I actually have like emotional reaction to. And so you're not necessarily like an image. So I guess like for you, just because you're a very powerful writer. So do you feel that like just scripting right away, using words is like, does that bring you to feeling state? Like what's going on in your mind while you're scripting?
Yeah. So yeah, my process is the words bring out the images and emotions, right? So everything we do is going to be emotion centric, like as far as we're using words to generate emotions. Because if something is not really, it basically like the process of scripting is enjoyable. So if I'm writing, the writing has to be enjoyable. What I'm writing about, it has to be enjoyable. So that's the main thing, right? And so like you're basically like a scripter to your movie. So it's like, yeah, you're literally the scripter guy. Is that the writer? Yeah, the writer of the movie. So you're literally, I just start like a page on my laptop notes, and I just start to write down like the topic that I want to talk about, maybe Turks and Caicos, and I just start writing anything that comes to my mind first, like just obviously the beach, but I'll still talk about the beach, talk about being with my friends, and then like more and more will come as I type. But yeah, I guess there's like two types of people, or maybe more types of people, but like I think me and Jasmine, yeah, like she's more into like visuals, and I just like I still do visualization stuff and imagination stuff, but I'm definitely more heavy on just like when I'm scripting, like I feel at home. Like I just feel like I'm good at this. I like doing this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And to break it down simply, so it's like you're using scripting, whether it's a segment or an event that you know is going to come up, like for a trip, for example, or like a party you're going to go to, or something like, yeah, like a presentation you got to do at work.
Mhm.
So it's super helpful to just take that situation and then just write about like what's the best possible outcome and ideal situation that's going to make you feel the greatest.
Right, right. You like your preferences too. It's basically like your preference, right? Which is choose your best preference. So yeah, so like for me this year is really about like using, well, I said it earlier, I guess, but using this to just script like any interest I have in anything. Like I recently have an interest to decorate my room for once, and like was and just like um having certain experiences, like I don't know, going to a certain concert I want to go to, or go to a Super Bowl, whatever interests me at this point. I'm just creating my reality, and I'm experiencing the benefits of it immediately through vibrationally. Like when you're scripting these things, like you're experiencing it directly. Like when you're just sitting, so what I like to go to Starbucks, not every time, but sometimes I like to go to Starbucks. It's so funny, like everyone's on their laptop taking action, doing something to take action, like a document for work. They're taking action to try to get something they want eventually, basically, in a way. And I'm literally directly using my laptop to get what I want. Like I would never, like, one of my fondest memories is being in Starbucks drinking whatever drink I'm drinking, and then I'm like typing up this Turks and Caicos trip, like, and then it happened, and then the same with New York, same with all my trips I've typed up. But Jasmine, actually, someone texted me a little earlier, so I missed that little snippet of what you were talking about your imagination process. So I was like kind of out of the loop.
Oh, my imagination process? Oh, like
Yeah.
how I think that the way we differ is that like for me, before I start scripting, um, I need to visualize the scene in my head first.
Yeah.
Like for me, like I'm so visual that like I can like conjure up the feeling or whatever I'm imagining. Like if I think about something sad, like I could just legit make myself cry right now if I want
Right.
to.
Right.
So for me, I'm getting the feeling first and then I'm scripting about that. Like how I just focus on what can what can I imagine happening in this specific scenario that's going to make me feel so great? And
Mhm.
there's no limitations. So it's like, even like for Europe and stuff, like I just kept scripting like, people are gonna, like, I'm gonna meet the best, friendliest people ever, like strangers, and become friends. Like I'm gonna be taken care of. Like I'm always gonna feel safe. Like I'm always gonna have such a great fun time. I love positive surprises. So I could leave it open-ended. So
Mhm.
yeah, like for me, for sure, like I need to imagine something first and then script it out. Because for me, honestly, I gotta admit, like words aren't necessarily that powerful for me.
Interesting.
But I feel like the combo, the imagination session plus actually scripting it and writing it down is like I just feel so laser focused.
Wow, the combination of that. Okay, all right, I really like that. Yeah, well, cause so like I'm someone who's really obsessed with like books and reading, and so you know, for me, it's like when I'm reading a novel, these words are generating the images in my head. So I'm using the words to describe the image or describe the thing. But my thing with imagination is I don't like scenes. Like I don't like embodying. Like if I want to think about having a lot of money, I don't like embodying all that into one scenario scene, you know? Like when I
Mm,
think about money, I want to, if I was to script about money right now, I'll start an empty page, title it My Money Experience or whatever. Now I'll write, you know, about um my real estate experience, right? I have like 10 real estate properties that I got for a good price. I'm flipping it, it's going up in value, whatever. I'll write about me investing in businesses and how I feel about. So I just kind of, yeah. So basically, you know what I'm saying? Versus like I don't like when I'm just imagining myself, I don't know, looking at a property, just one property that I'm looking at. And it's like I want to talk about so much more than just that one scene.
mhm.
So I feel like none of the scenes, or you know, the traditional imagine yourself swimming a bunch of money, like that doesn't do it for me.
It
You
just,
know,
yeah.
like, but you feel the opposite. Like you
Yeah,
like the scenes.
I do. And it's interesting because recently, before when I would have like my imagination sessions,
Mhm,
just for fun, like just think about like my dream home, future family and stuff.
mhm,
For some reason, I kept like I would think about a specific scene and it was
mhm,
all separate. Like for some reason, like when I would think about my dream house,
mhm,
I noticed like a while ago, I was like, wait, like why am I not imagining my future family in this dream house?
mhm, mhm,
In my head, like I separated all of those desires. So now
mhm.
like I feel like I'm using my imagination more efficiently by imagining everything at once. So like my favorite daydreaming scenario right now is and scripting is I'm in my dream house with my future family and my parents, brothers, and like in-laws. They're all having a good time in my dream house too. Like I'm seeing my kids run around. Um, and I'm having like a successful business and I'm
Mhm.
enjoying um having the break.
How does business part to that whole thing?
Because for me, in the back of my head, I'm like, look at how success like in my head, in that scenario, I'm my ideal self. I'm like, I'll literally just be thinking and I'm looking around the room at everyone having such a great time. I'm like, man, like how lucky am I? Like I get to do what I love and I have my whole family here enjoying themselves because
Okay, bro, you just inspired me so much. Like, so now what I'm gonna do is um basically I'm gonna script out everything that I want. But it's like once I script it out, it's like, oh, I'm done. Like, then I just don't even look at it. But now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna every day or every other day, whenever I want, I'm gonna go through my list of scripts, even the ones that I've done. I'm gonna look at them and then start to set up an imagination scene with it to tap into that vibration. So, you know, does that make sense? Like,
so like you're
so
reading it, like you'll write it first and then go back to it and like imagine it.
so I like to use the script because I just and everything I'm saying right now is my own personal experience. This is not like something that I'm expressing myself right now. This is not necessarily me teaching anything. So this is all my personal perspective.
Yeah.
Because I do see where there's certain areas where, you know, whatever. But so it's like I see scripting as just a more better. like in my head, it's a better way of creating the imagination. Like I don't know, like for me, it's just like better. Like um it's like when you're watching a movie versus when you're reading the novel of it, like words can just set up so much more. Like you get so much more depth with the words versus the scene can obviously portray such powerful emotion and it has own benefits, but there's a reason why whenever you watch a TV show or whatever, everyone says the novel version is better because there's so much more details that you can portray.
Yeah.
So I'm a details type of guy, I guess. So but with that being said, like a lot of scenes hit different when it's TV, when it's pictures and video, So it's like,
Yeah.
but so wow, so this is like we're basically creating a movie. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have all my scripts, and then yeah, I'm gonna basically water them every day, or not every day, but just whenever I want, more consistently through imagination. Because when I write a script, I just kind of leave it. A lot of times I don't come back and kind of read them over to add more fuel to it. But I think the scripting can really fuel my imagination.
Hmm.
Wow, so now I'm really seeing how that really fits for me because I love imagination. Like I love it. But when I talk to my friends like Jasmine and Corey and all my Pisces friends, they're like crazy with it. I'm like, damn, bro, like, maybe I just suck at this.
Yeah.
But um, even a lot of times in my imagination, I would use words instead. Like when I'm just closing my eyes, I would use words to
Interesting.
yeah. So think about it. Like I can imagine myself like flying on a dragon right now, like visually, or I can just say like I
Mm.
am on this powerful flaming dragon and I am feeling the heat that's coming off of it. And I could feel myself soaring through the sky and the steam that's coming off of it. And I'm flying through like this valley that looks like, like Hogwarts, that looks like something out of like Harry Potter, and I'm just flying and doing the 360s loops all around the place. And I feel so exhilarated and yeah, blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? Like I like sometimes words just allows me to reach the details. Like I don't know, bro. Like
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I'll narrate my imaginations too.
that's so funny. I can just imagine your voice. Like your voice would be such a good narration for like a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're narrated too?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I'll even have like legit dialogues in my imagination sessions and exchanges between
Like
people.
talk. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's normal. Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, okay, okay. Um,
But I do have to admit though, like I do tend to use scripting more when I know a real life event is gonna come up. So I am curious
yeah.
when just scripting, just like
Well, actually, yeah. No, sometimes it's actually I can see circumstances where it's better for me to use imagination, especially like circumstances that are coming up. Like I could see, like before I go to a restaurant, I could see myself actually instead of scripting about it. I think it would be better for me to actually visualize myself in the restaurant. It's like such a festive vibe. Like everyone's like holding mugs of beer and like yo cheers or whatever. Like the whole restaurant and like everyone's smiling, laughing, you can hear the laughs, everyone's just like hugging each other, holding each other. So that really generates that emotion, right? Like in that for that situation.
mhm.
So yeah, so you know what? The conclusion I'm coming to is do both, and there's power in both. And maybe I don't suck at one of them, or maybe I can find more use for one of them, and they work hand in hand.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you have one of your favorite scripts that came true this year?
Bro, all right, let me just start talking about it. So I'm gonna fit my experiences and how to script all in one. So basically, we started attempting to script around the end of May, like very end of May, around my birthday. And at that point in the three of us, me, Corey, and Jasmine, in our life, we were scared, we were spooked to be specific because we was heavy on the only letting go type of thing. And so we were just like, even like segment intention was like too much for us at some point. We're like, oh man, if we get specific, then uh we're gonna miss out on other stuff. like that source has in store for us. But it's like that's not true at all. Like being specific only adds to what source already has in store for you. Like it doesn't like cut it out at all. Like anyway, so basically I was like, what do I want to script out? What do I want to experience? So my first script was about a trip to New York. So I started scripting about it, and I was like, so at that point in our life, like if you asked me before, describe this experience that you're gonna have in New York, I will be so general. I would be so scared to get specific. I haven't even built that muscle, so I would say things like, I'm gonna have a fun time with my friends in New York, and that would be it. That would
Yeah.
be it. Like right. So now and then, so I was like, you know what? Let me just get super fucking specific and see what happens. So I started this document and I titled it June New York Trip 2022. And I just started to type anything that I can think of. So obviously I started with what was easy, which is I'm so happy to see my friends. We're so happy to see each other. And then I wrote down things like, yeah, you know, we're gonna do psychedelics together, whatever. And I scripted out this whole Central Park thing, which totally came true, right? So, and then like I that was all I could script. And then the next day, you know, more and more start coming to me. Like our other friend, like Haiti, like messaged me like out of nowhere, and she's like, "Yo, like if you come to New York, like you could do this and that, blah blah blah." So she gave me new ideas that I added to the script, which you know became that whole fucking mountain thing, like that whole situation. But and then like all these things, and then next thing you know, right, like my mom out of nowhere, she's like, "Yo, let's take a family trip to New York." And she booked like tickets for us like the next day, like you know. And then so the next day she booked like tickets for us. She paid for my ticket and everything. And the ticket was like I think what like a month later or something, or like 3 weeks later. The ticket like that's when I was actually gonna go. So between now and the 3 weeks later, I scripted a whole bunch of stuff, whatever I could think of, just being specific, like this amazing car ride. Like that was my biggest thing, like this amazing car ride with music that we're gonna go on. We're gonna go to have these Asian experiences. I'm gonna show my friends all this Asian food. We're gonna have these psychedelic experiences at Central Park. We're gonna have a day where we're just gonna smoke a bunch of weed. I'm gonna have drive like first, be in first class. I'm gonna have I described like this amazing hotel that we're gonna have with a great view. We're gonna have Korean barbecue, all this stuff, right? And then I actually invited my friend Marty to co-create the script, so she would add her own details underneath mine. So basically, then the trip happens, right? And it was the most amazing trip ever. And the thing was, like, bruh, the whole literally everything, just about almost like one thing that didn't come true was like biking, and I had the opportunity to go biking, but I literally chose not to. So literally, so it was so crazy for me at that time for every single thing to be coming true. So literally, I think I was there for like what 5 days. The whole 5 days, I was just shook because every single part of my script was coming true exactly. So like that was just so crazy to me. And like I can't even describe because I was being so specific and the specifics were coming true. Like at some point I scripted fucking watermelon juice. And then like, you know,
Bro,
I've never had like watermelon, just fresh watermelon juice, right? So we find this awesome Korean barbecue joint, which is like such a great experience. We walk in there and there's just a big jug of fresh watermelon juice staring at us. And I've never Jasmine, remember that? Like literally, like
that
I
was
just
random, bro.
I just made that up out of nowhere, you
Yeah.
know. And then that led to I come back from New York, right? And like I said, imagine every day. It's like it felt like wow, I created every single segment. It was insane. Like felt like God inside of God. Like it was insane. So the next trip, like fucking 2 weeks later, I flew out to Turks and Caicos, and in that 2 weeks I had a whole Turks and Caicos script. Everything, basically, most of the stuff came true. The only thing that the we scripted like a party on a yacht. The party part came true, but the yacht part happened. The yacht party part happened on the cruise a month later, or yeah, a month later, or 2 months later. So Go ahead.
No, and for me, I scripted a yacht party too for Turks and Caicos, and I got it in a different way because
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I ended up meeting some people that were telling me about a huge yacht party. And
Mhm.
the reason I met them was because I had to go walk through a yacht club to find this restaurant.
Right, right.
Like
Mhm.
it, the things, it'll come into your reality if you script it.
Yeah, and for me, like I was more focused on the dancing and on the music part. And it was crazy how I had specific songs in my head and they didn't play the exact version I wanted. But like for example, I had an R&B song by this artist I like, but they played the original sample version of it. So there was so many times where they would play like original samples of the songs I like that, so it was just like, yeah, it was just pretty crazy.
Mhm.
But I forgot your original question, but yeah, so basically, open up a document or you can write it down, but I would just recommend typing it honestly, but you can
Mhm.
write it in a journal to it. But I would basically, I have my notes on my MacBook, and basically I have I have a folder called the manifestation folder or scripting folder, and I click on it, and then now I have notes within it on any topic I want to script about. So for like Turks and Caicos or whatever, you just write the title Turks and Caicos trip, and then you would just start just so make this easy. So literally, I just have like basically like bullets, right? Of just kind of like bullet number one is like beach day or something like good beach day or something, and then like under that bullet, I'll just like type like just describe it with as much detail as I can. And I do that as much as I can until I can't think of anything or it doesn't feel good. I
Mhm.
stop, and then usually what happens is because you've typed this, more stuff will start coming to you either today or the next day, and then you add to that script when you have the new information. New information will come. More stuff to add to your script will come. That's
Yeah.
it. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to say, Jasmine?
Now I think we covered the basics of scripting. And I have in my notes when we first started that we're like, all right, when you're scripting, asking the why, and then
Hmm.
think for emotions, think of the vibration and the thoughts that align to that vibration are going to start flowing through you.
Okay. Right. Facts, facts. So emotion, yeah, start with the emotion vibration, and yeah, just as long as you know, like everything that you want to experience is for internal experience, so it's always going to be emotional, vibrationally correlated.
Mhm.
So yeah.
And I'm realizing
Uh-huh.
now that like with one of my favorite parts about scripting is that like when I think about something, even if I'm like stretching my imagination, I am releasing resistance towards that idea for like something big to happen that might not happen like for normal people.
Hmm. He said that again.
So like for me, one of the main benefits of scripting is that like it pushes my imagination because I'm like, yo, like what's the honestly for me, it's like what's the best thing that can happen or like the coolest thing or it's like the most exciting. And then I release resistance towards that idea. So that way it's gonna happen faster. Like for example, like I was scripting in Europe, like to party with like either like a celebrity or like a DJ.
Hmm.
And it ended up happening
Hmm.
twice.
Hmm.
So just because like normally it's like if you go to a show, it's like you're like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if we could hang out with this artist, like have a good time? And it's like because
Hmm.
some people think it's unattainable, like because I scripted it and I lived it out in my head, like I was like, of course, why wouldn't this happen?
Right, and yeah, and because some people like because of their limiting beliefs, they wouldn't even dare to even think about it, like to tap into that vibration,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So you're gonna see like all these great people, like celebrity, or just people who've done like like people who've done a lot in this world, like who have just accomplished a lot. You see that most of them, they're very focused. They're just all it is. They have a vision and they know how to focus. It's just the focus. Like that's all it is.
Mhm.
And yeah, and when you kind of exercise your imagination and scripting, like you're pushing your boundaries of what is possible in your reality. The only reason, yeah, it's basically what's happening. You're just kind of like expanding your vibrational possibilities. You
Mhm.
know, yeah. You're Any last tips on just, I don't know, imagination or anything like that?
Yeah, I would
Closing
say,
thoughts.
yeah, if you're feeling good, like that's when I love to do my daydreaming too, imagination sessions, and then like scripting eventually, uh, if it's applicable. Like if I feel good, like I'll just use that opportunity to build up on that momentum.
Facts, facts, major facts. All right. Anything else?
Nah, I think we're good.
All right.
Thanks,
All
everyone.
right. Thank you. Peace.